Today, I want to talk about the AI website problem.
Welcome to the Up in My Business podcast with me, Lex Lancaster, where you'll get an inside look at all things tech, business, and my life as a physical therapist turned digital operations expert. You'll hear all about my lessons as a business owner, the ins and outs of tech for your business, and more. From SEO, websites, and email marketing to automations, launches, and copywriting, I've got you. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in.
What up? Feeling pretty out of breath. I've been talking a lot because I recorded a couple of these in a row here. I am recording this episode and I'm trying to, for lack of better terms, I'm trying to approach it in a way that I don't get so heated. But just know in my body, I'm annoyed. So I want to talk about the AI website situation. I actually am going to not talk about the visual aspect side, meaning all these fucking AI websites look the same. These AI landing pages, they all look the same. Which again, I'm not even going to go down that road, but they all look the same. Now, the next side of things is, because I also want to say that the reason I am not going to go down that is because I have a website design style. Most of my websites follow the same style. You don't have to, I can't design a website that's artistic, right? And that's not my style. And I also will say I don't want to. It is not functional for healthcare. Really, it's just not functional for healthcare. So I don't need to do that. So yes, they all look the same, but I don't want to be saying that from my high horse and being they all look the same. And then someone else is well, Lex, you have a style as well. So anyway, the robots have a style and I have a style. But what I really want to talk about when it comes to the AI problem and the AI design problem, going to take a sip of my lovely energy drink, is that it's a good solution until it's not. Now, there are two things that I think are problematic and extremely problematic with these sites. Number one, they're not meant to grow with you. When you add a new service, when you decide to change a service, all of these sites are not meant to grow with you. They're meant to just stay what they are. And genuinely, respectfully, if your business does not need to change and grow over the course of years and your website just stays the same, number one, what? And number two, that's not good for Google. It's not good for SEO. To have a website that is stagnant and never changes is not a good signal for Google. So it's not good long-term and it's not good to grow with you. Number two, these websites are not meant for people to succeed when it comes to editing their own site and publishing blogs. They're not. And I say that because I'm so sick and tired of people being wrapped into retainers that they don't need just because of the website designer, not because it was their choice. And I say website designer so fucking lightly at this point because I literally know, I have seen some of these sites. I'm your website is completely designed by Claude. The messaging on this site is so stale and it's not even close to being representative of your specific brand, which that's a whole other conversation when it comes to messaging. And it's not designed. It's just pasted into a coding section of a website builder. So I say website designer knowing that the designer I'm actually talking about is Claude, but I digress. So when it comes down to it, these websites are not built for you. They're not built to grow with you. And I have that opinion about multiple websites, especially websites that are attached to your EMR. That website is not meant to be. You need to have a website outside of your EMR. If you're if your website is also attached to your email marketing software, which is also attached to your CRM, I'm just like, what are we doing? All-in-one software options are never the best option. Like, it's genuinely like that is the rule, and any tech person would tell you that. The only person who wouldn't tell you that is the owner of one of those all-in-one companies because they want to make more money. But I digress. So when it comes to the AI website problem, the biggest problem is that it's not friendly for the user. And it's not friendly for the clinician and the business owner. So you're paying an investment to have a website built for you that is essentially, you're beholden to that person who built it for you for the rest of forever because you can't change it because it's solely built with AI. And like, don't get me wrong. You could be like, well, if it's built with AI, I can change it. Sure. Okay. Like I'll play the game. You could change it, but like, can you really change it? Do you feel confident that you could actually change it? Are you able to change the coding on it? Are you able to add a new page? Like, even if you can change the existing content, you need to know how to edit the other things. And not to mention, like, it's still not friendly for frequent updates and blog posting like Google likes. So here's the thing. I will never recommend that. I think that I feel a lot of feelings when it comes down to the AI site situation. That's not just because I design websites. Go design your own website on Squarespace. I would recommend Squarespace, whatever, like go do your thing. But to pitch AI made websites that you can't edit and are solely built in code is literally against everything that I feel like website designers should stand for, but clearly are not. Because it wraps people into a management container and it wraps people into being, for lack of better terms, dependent on you for the rest of forever. And at the end of the day, you're not going to have the control you need in order to have your site grow with you. And if you ever decide to invest in help with like messaging or whatever else, like it's not going to be easy to change that stuff. You're wrapped into what you have forever. And then suddenly 8 years down the road, you have to pay again for a new website, likely way more money, hopefully, because it's not going to be built with an AI platform. You have to pay way more money to get that created because you have this massive business now and your website was never updated accordingly because your website was built in AI. So that's like my big spiel. Now, the second half of this is like, you obviously know how I feel about it. And again, it's not just because I design websites. I just sit here and I'm like, what is best for the consumer and their long-term success? Now, number two, I have to tell you a personal story that I just, I'm still in the middle of it. I have a friend and him and his wife, they're opening up a new business. And they wanted me to build their website. It's not in the healthcare land. So it's not even close to being healthcare related. And I let them know that. I was like, that's not my forte. Like, I know it's not my forte, but they work with a different company for their other business. And they were like, basically, they just didn't want to work with that person for this website. And I was like, well, I am more than happy to help you. But just so you know, like creatively, that is a totally different type of website than what I am comfortable building. And I was like, so I'm going to use AI to help me brainstorm. So what I did was, and they were cool with that. They obviously were really happy. The website actually looks really awesome and I'm super fucking proud of it. But I used AI to help me brainstorm because it, again, is outside my niche and also outside the color scheme that I typically design in. I'm very much an expansive website designer. Whereas like the colors are always lighter. We're not using a lot of like really dark backgrounds, not a lot of black backgrounds. The sites are mostly, light color backgrounds. And then we have accent with darker. Whereas this website needed to be mostly dark. So for me, that would have been a struggle just because, aesthetically it is different. And again, like I have a preferred style, just like every other designer does. That's why it's like when you hire someone, you have to look at their style. It's the same thing with photography. If someone has a sepia tone photography, but you're looking for bright colors, you can't hire the person who does sepia tones. Like it doesn't mix. So I put in to AI the website that I was looking to design. I gave them some inspo photos that they had sent me and their logo. And like, they also sent me a header, like a business document header. And I was like, ooh, that's going to be really helpful. So I fed that all into AI. And then what I ended up doing was it spit out a potential design, which was like really on par. And then what I did with that design was I designed it in Squarespace. So I didn't design it. I used a lot of the details that it had for the generation, and I just designed it on Squarespace. So I took all the blocks, I aligned the blocks the way that I needed them to. So I actually took each page that I needed and just built the website that I saw in Claude, and I built it out on my own in Squarespace, which is something that, anyone could do. Again, like it takes, do you know how to actually use the design editor, etc.? Like you can do that with anything. And I will also say the design looks like an AI design. So I'm not sitting here saying like, hey, you should go do this, because again, it looks like it's AI. But what I will say is like, I won't bastardize it, because as a website designer, I used it in order to help me brainstorm for something outside my niche. So I think it's a great brainstorming tool, and I think it can be really helpful. I think it's really helpful for those who need a brainstorming situation, but like to actually use what's spit out as the full web page, it just doesn't work, because you're not going to be able to edit that. And I'll say as a client, you wouldn't be able to edit that well. And also as a client, it's really tough to keep the website up to date. And blogging, like what are we doing with a blog? If every single page is built in code, and now we can't edit one piece of the page if we have a blog post. Now, if we have a blog post, can we link to the other pages? Do you have access to that stuff? Like there are so many questions that I feel like are really important. So the message here is, in my mind, you need to ask a question when you hire someone to design your website, with the main one being, where are you building it and how are you building it? Are you building it in code? Are you building it in a way that I can manage? And number two, who owns the website? Will you own the website? Will it be on their servers for the rest of time, and you have to pay them money to keep it there? Who actually owns that website? And I would say, number one of like, can you edit it and how are you building it, really does feed into number three, which is like, what access do you have after the website design is done? And are you able to edit it on your own? So be hesitant. I think if someone is designing your website on a full AI platform and you can't see the pages other than what's in code, if you're not prepared to edit a website that's built in code and you want your life to be easy, which is most healthcare practitioners, I'm going to say you should be really hesitant about just having someone do that, because now you're paying them to then later have to pay someone else to get what you want. And secondarily, I would say that most times, if you're going to invest in a website and you're ready to invest in a website, you want something that's going to grow with you. You don't want something that you're going to have to redo again 2 years down the road, which doesn't work. Like that does not work. That does not make sense. And I think the longer term that you can think on, and the longer you can really think ahead, is a goal. And I understand you need a website right now, but locking yourself into something where you're on a monthly retainer because you're not able to manage it yourself, or having your website built by someone who only builds with Claude or an AI software, and that's how they're able to like crank out a bunch of websites, like I would just be hesitant about that. But as always, to each their own. And I feel like at the end of the day, if you're looking for something that will grow with you, something you can manage on your own, something that you will never not own, you will always own your website, and something that you can truly edit and change yourself if you ever feel like you want to. I will put myself out there and just say like, those are all my values. That's exactly how I design all of my websites. My own podcast, so I guess self-promotion is allowed, but outside of that, I just would be careful with, paying someone to design something that is not going to grow with you. That's really, really tough. And unless you're prepared to make the investment times two, and like it is what it is type of situation. So That's what I got for you. That's the AI site problem, in my opinion. And again, I don't think that everyone cares. I feel like some people just want a website to be up and live and call it a day. But most people that are in my ecosystem really want to know the ins and outs. They want to know the back end. They want to be able to manage the things. So if that's you, like, just pay attention and make sure things are not built in code and you can manage all the things and own all the things and are not beholden to an agency for the rest of forever. All right, friends, thank you so much for listening. I will catch you next time.